Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. From begging for food to loving to snuggle, if you have dogs and you have human kids, you probably know some of their behavior tends to overlap. Our next guest explores this idea in her new book, Tender Paws: How Science-Based Parenting Can Transform Our Relationship with Dogs. We welcome Wendy Lyons Sunshine. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Hannah. Glad to be here.
We love our dogs so much around here, so we're excited to chat with you. Tell me about what inspired you to write this book.
Yeah, my husband and I had gotten a little rescue puppy and didn't really realize how much difficulty she was having until things got, shall we say, challenging as a parent, a pet parent. And I was looking for answers and couldn't find them in the standard manuals because the manuals are expecting me to be dealing with a very calm, reasonable creature. And this puppy was not so calm and reasonable. And where I found help was by looking at parenting books, actually. I had just helped write a parenting book with some wonderful experts, and I went back to the pages there and started replacing the word child with the word puppy in my mind. And that really helped me make a breakthrough. And then I tried some techniques that were inspired, and sure enough, it just transformed our relationship. And that began my curiosity about how much do kids and dogs really have in common? And can we borrow parenting techniques? The answer looks like yes, we can borrow many of the techniques.
It makes sense when you explain it that way. So let's talk about what training a dog means versus parenting a dog. How do you kind of differentiate those two approaches?
Right. Training is often very focused on a task. It's somewhat mechanical, right? We can think more like about teaching, which we do with kids. We help them learn step by step. But as a parent, the responsibility is much broader. The scope is wider, and we think about their welfare on many different levels. We think about their needs, everything from their physical needs to their emotional needs to their need to feel safe, and that can make a huge difference in improving the relationship we have with that animal.
What about parenting a dog versus parenting a child? Are there things that are still kind of different, even though there are obviously very clear parallels?
Right. Well, of course, kids grow up and you try to help them learn skills that will help them survive on their own. And with dogs, we keep them in a certain amount of perpetual childhood, right? Uh, oh, these cute as they are. But there are a surprising number of things that kids and dogs have in common and techniques and principles that work across the board. I like to use the acronym HEARTS, which stands for Heal the Body, Enrich the Brain, Appropriate Environments with Felt Safety. R is Respectful and Secure Relationships. T is Teach Sensitively and Positively. And then S is Support the Individual. And we can do that with little ones, whether they're canine or human.
That makes sense for sure. So I want to ask you about trauma specifically. If you know you've adopted a puppy maybe from a tough circumstance, how do you see the signs of that and kind of figure out what works best for you and the dog?
Right. Well, it's so particular and unique to the dog. So you want to first really be an observer, right? You want to watch the signs. And does the puppy voluntarily come toward you, or do they pull away? And we can go slow and be patient. That's really sometimes the hardest part for people because we want to love on them and we want to hug them and cuddle them and kiss them. And that can really make them feel scared, actually. If you suddenly met a stranger and they wanted to be all up in your face and, loving on you, you might think, whoa, let me get to know you a little bit. So we can let dogs approach at their own speed a little bit more. And that can go a long way just to help them feel comfortable. And with trauma, dogs that have been traumatized, they do need to choose. It makes them feel much more comfortable if they can approach and they have some, control over their world a little bit. That's super helpful.
Yeah, and what about different breeds? And every dog is different, just like every human child is. Are there ways to kind of account for that? And I mean, does it really come back to being that listening and observant pet parent?
Right. Well, we try to bring mindfulness and observation to whoever the dog is, and certain breeds are known for loving certain activities and having certain talents, and that's a great place to start. We can expect certain kinds of dogs, but they're such individuals. It's funny almost. Some dogs you would expect, like a Labrador Retriever type of dog, might love to chase a tennis ball. Well, not every Labrador Retriever wants to chase a tennis ball. Uh, and we'll get to know the individual when you live with them. You start to see what they really respond to. And if you're observant and patient, you can be so gratified and create a wonderful, beautiful relationship together.
Yeah, dogs are just the best. They improve our lives in so many ways. Were there any surprising discoveries that you made while writing and researching the book?
Absolutely. I was surprised to learn how often pain and physical discomfort contribute to a dog behaving poorly, actually. So sometimes we think a dog is being aggressive, they may be growling or acting up in some way, and it's really because they're trying to communicate to us that they are in physical discomfort. There have been studies that show that it can be up to almost 80% of behavioral problems can have a physical underpinning. And when you think about it, let's say a dog has a toothache. Well, they can't say, "Hey, Ma, I have a toothache. Help, take me to the dentist." They just may shy away if you try to touch them or pet them there. And so thinking about pain and undiagnosed pain, it could be their spine hurts for some reason, or they may not sit. It's not that they're trying to be uncooperative. It might be that their hips bother them. There are breeds that have those kind of issues, and individual dogs also.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
My pleasure. Nice to be with you.
Thank you again. The book again is Tender Paws, and we'll have more information on our website at katu.com.